I would like to call today's November 19th, 2020 meeting to order. Do we have feedback? It is our opinion that the item on today's agenda constitute essential business of this body and that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Are there any objections? I'll also note that today's meeting is being live streamed by Metro ITS on Metro Network 2. At this time, Quentin is going to help us with a roll call. And Quentin, will you check and see who members are present?
Yes, Kim. All right, I will start with you first, Kim Atkins.
I am here.
Perfect. Kathy Bender.
Present.
Aaron McGee.
Present.
Thank you, Aaron. Jad Duncan. Frank Harrison. Looks like we might have lost Frank at some point. Dan Hogan. Dan Hogan, I'm going to unmute you really quick.
Present.
Dan, you're still with us?
Again, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Sorry about that.
Not a problem. Melvin Gill.
Present.
Thank you. Anna Page. Don Deering.
Present. Present.
Thank you. Glenn Farner.
I am present.
Thank you, Glenn. Emmett Wynn. All right. I'll give Emmett a call back to help him get on, but that is everyone for the board members.
Thank you. Appreciate your help there, Quentin. We have consideration of the meeting from October before us. On Friday, you received a copy of the meeting minutes on the SharePoint link, which everyone should have had a chance to review. Are there any revisions, edits? At this time, we would entertain a motion to approve.
Don Deering, so moved. Glenn Farner, second.
We have a motion and properly seconded. We will go through, apologize. I guess we need to go through another roll call to approve the minutes in the sake of the venue being virtual today. Quentin, can you help us out again?
Kim Atkins.
Yes.
Thank you. Kathy Bender.
Aye.
Aaron McGee.
Aye.
Frank Harrison. Dan Hogan.
Aye.
Melvin Gill.
Yes.
Don Deering.
Yes.
Glenn Farner.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. We are on a roll. We have approved the minutes. This board meeting is moving forward, underway. At this time, we will hear from our esteemed Executive Director, Monica Kognatson, for her report.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us and for being on the call today.
The agenda is on the screen. There are only 2 action items to come before the authority today, and both come as recommendations from the Finance Committee. The first is consideration of a resolution that would authorize the chair to execute the construction management agreement with Bell and Associates for the infrastructure project associated with the Mls Stadium. And the second item the Sports Authority will consider is a resolution that would authorize additional expenses for project management consultant services also related to the Mls Stadium. Following these items, the board will receive a brief Mls Stadium report and also have an opportunity to ask any facility-related questions. Are there questions about the agenda? Well, just a couple of quick updates. First, Bob Lackey has officially joined the Sports Authority, and we're very excited to have him, especially during this time. There's a lot of work to be done, and I think we feel very fortunate that he and Melissa can work together and that Bob will be available to all of us. Secondly, and we mentioned this in the Finance Committee, we're continuing to work towards the closing of the bonds. The closing is on track and scheduled for mid-December. Last week we had our bond ratings presentation with Moody and S&P and are expecting to hear back from them hopefully today. And I do want to thank Chair Atkins for joining us with the bond presentation, the bond ratings presentations. We really appreciate your time. And then finally, we've just about finalized the scope of services for the bid invitations that we'll be sending out in search of a consultant for phase 2 of the Women's Professional Sports Initiative, which the board discussed and approved at the last meeting. And so we'll keep you informed as we move forward, but that's coming along and we hope to get that out soon. Are there any questions?
Monica, can you update us on the marathon as well since our last meeting? I know there were...
Yes, and actually, if Quentin is available, he may be the better person, our special events coordinator. Quentin, are you able to?
Sure, yeah. So Marathon met early Monday morning, and they essentially made the decision to pull the plug on this year's event, just with the rising COVID cases that we have locally, and also with recommendations from local health officials. So now we're looking towards 2021.
Thank you. I think it was important to note, since we certainly discussed and approved that item was supposed to be rescheduled for this month, certainly unfortunate, but understandable that it was not able to go as planned.
Kim, sorry, I also want to note that the Ironman group has received a full refund from Sports Authority.
Thank you. I appreciate that update, Quentin. Monica, thank you for your report. We will move on to the Finance Committee report. We are going to, earlier this morning, the Finance Committee met. I was able to join in by phone and listen to the discussion. We are pleased since our last Finance Committee meeting that Director Frank Harrison has agreed to join the committee. And Frank participated in this morning's committee as well. And our chairman, John Glassmeyer, is unable to join us today. And our esteemed Dan Hogan chaired this morning's meeting and will take over the Finance Committee report. Dan, it's all you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. The Finance Committee met at 9:30, and we considered 2 items this morning. First, a resolution authorizing the chair to execute an agreement for construction management services related to infrastructure related to the MLS Stadium area by and between Sports Authority and Bell and Associates Construction. We've heard from the Sports Authority project manager, Jim Pashofsky. We also heard from Michelle Lane at Metro Procurement. They walked us through the solicitation process, and we got some detail on the contract. Margaret Darby also provided additional guidance related to the contract. The pre-construction services element of this contract, which is Exhibit A in the contract on the pricing sheet, it lists $159,665 for pre-construction services, and then a construction manager's project staff number of $454,743. The GMP, the guaranteed maximum price, will be confirmed later in this process. That's standard and similar to the Morton Messer contract for the stadium, and the committee discussed this at length and voted to recommend approval on this item. The second item that we took up for discussion was a resolution authorizing and approving an increase in expenses related to project management consulting services related to preliminary planning, design, and construction of a new Major League Soccer stadium. Staff requested funding from the Arena Revenue Fund in the amount of $370,000 to cover project management fees for the Gobble Hayes and capital project solutions agreements related to design and construction of the stadium. Since April of 2018, the board's authorized a total of a little over $1 million, $1,025,000. The additional amount, this additional amount that we were discussing today, will allow the authority to pay project managers through January 31st of next year. It's important to note that we are on track to close the bonds related to this project on December 17th, and at that point, then all the funding would come out of the bond revenues and the Arena Fund will be fully reimbursed. So the committee also voted to recommend approval on this item.
Thank you, Dan. We have heard the committee's recommendation from this morning on the two items before us for consideration. We will try and get a motion to get it properly before us, and then we can go into discussion. So at this time, we would entertain a motion to accept the committee's recommendation to approve a resolution authorizing the chair to execute an agreement for construction management services related to infrastructure related to the MLS Stadium area by and between the Sports Authority and Bell and Associates Construction.
So moved. Don Deering.
We have a motion.
Second, Kathy Bender.
Thank you. Motion and properly seconded. We are ready for a vote. Quentin, will you take us through a vote, please?
Mayor, this is Margaret Darby. Would you like to allow discussion on the motion?
Yes, thank you. As soon as I hit mute, realized we have any questions. I know we have Jim Petrowski and Margaret Darby, of course, and Monica also available to answer additional questions. And Jim, if you want to just give us an overview, that'd be great.
An overview of the contract. Yeah, it's a construction manager at risk contract. It was solicited several months ago. There was an evaluation committee seated to review 3 very quality proposals. They were evaluated on qualifications, experience, staffing, and their fee structure, and Bell had the highest point total on all categories within the evaluation, so that worked out quite well. And notice of intent to award was issued on October 28th, and now the contract is in process of being prepared for execution so this work can commence.
Thank you, Jim. Do we have questions for Jim? Any further discussion by board members? Seeing none, we will now go for a vote. And Quentin, if you can help us call through the board, that'd be helpful.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Melvin Gill.
Hi, Melvin.
Hello. I guess I had a couple of questions I want to ask about how Bell will procure labor and subcontracts on this project. Is this a time to discuss that?
Absolutely. Jim, you want to take the lead on that?
Sure. Yeah, Bell will be putting bid packages together and competitively bidding all subcontracts related to this work. And it has to go according to the Metro Procurement Code. So there'll be competitive bids on everything.
So how will they advertise those subcontracts?
They'll advertise, they'll send out solicitations. I believe they'll also put advertisements out. They'll be working through the BAO office on outreach as well.
Okay. Will they use temp agencies during this process, or labor brokers, or will they be doing direct hiring?
That I'm not sure how the subcontractors will do that. They'll put out bid packages for different scopes of work, but I don't think we're far enough along to know the answer to that question.
Okay. Well, you think the subcontractors will have to follow the procurement offices, agencies' guidelines?
Yes, they do on all solicitations. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you have any additional questions on this agenda item? Hearing none, we are ready for a vote. Quentin?
Kim, we'll start with you.
Aye.
Kathy Bender,
Aye.
Aaron McGee.
Aye.
Frank Harrison. Frank Harrison.
Frank, you're on mute.
Frank, I've just unmuted you. Go ahead.
Aye.
Thank you. Dan Hogan.
Aye.
Melvin Gill.
Yes.
Don Deering.
Aye.
Glenn Farner.
Yes.
And lastly, Mr. Emmett Wynn.
Aye.
Thank you, Emmett.
Majority has approved. And we will move on to our next agenda item, which was also heavily discussed just this morning in the Finance Committee. And that is consideration of a resolution authorizing and approving expenses related to project management consultant services related to the preliminary planning, design, and construction of the new soccer stadium. And Monica, I'm not sure who you want to kick off this portion for discussion purposes.
Well, I'll just briefly recap what Dan Hogan said, and that is that the request before the board this morning is for the authorization of an additional $370,000 from the Arena Revenue Fund to pay project management expenses until the bonds are sold. To this point, the authority has authorized just over $1 million, $1,025,000. The $370,000 is based on the proposal and the scopes of work that we received from our project managers and would take us through January 31st, 2021. Of course, with the bonds scheduled to be sold in the middle of December, we don't expect to need to take quite that much money out of the Arena Revenue Fund. but we settled on the January timeline just to give us some flexibility in case it's needed. And as always, I would reiterate that the Arena Revenue Fund will be reimbursed fully for the expenses it's incurred over the last 2.5 years.
Do we have discussion or questions for Monica or anyone on the call?
Chair Atkins.
Yes. Glenn?
This is Glenn. In our discussion with the Finance Committee, I don't know if this is where to make the point, but the resolution at the top says an increase. And we talked about that being, whether it was an increase in funding or it was something already incorporated, but the increase relates to the amount of money that the threshold that has been approved to use from the Arena account, not approved additional cost to the project. That's my understanding.
Thank you for that point of clarification. Are there any further questions on this, or can we get a motion to accept the Finance Committee's recommendation to approve the resolution authorizing the
Don
expenses?
Deere, so moved.
Dan Hogan.
Frank Harrison. Second.
We have a motion properly seconded. Any further discussion? I believe we are ready for a vote. If Quentin could help us with a roll call vote, that'd be great.
All right, Kim, we'll start with you again.
Aye.
Kathy Bender.
Kathy Bender.
Kathy, I've just unmuted you.
Aye.
Thank you. Aaron McGee.
Aye.
Frank Harrison.
Aye.
Dan Hogan.
Aye.
Melvin Gill.
Yes.
Don Deering.
Aye.
Glenn Farner.
Yes.
And Emmett Wynn.
Aye.
Thank you, Emmett.
Thank you. Majority votes to accept the committee's recommendation. That brings us on to the MLS Stadium update. I believe we have Mary Cavara representing the MLS ownership group for a brief update, and she will be followed by Kellen DeCourcy with CAA Icon, who will give a monthly DBE participation report. Mary?
Good morning, Madam Chair and board members. Thank you. As Kim mentioned, this is Mary Cavara. I'm here on behalf of Nashville SC. I'll provide a brief update on the team, the stadium construction, and actually Carol Greenlee with Mortensen Messer will provide the DBE update. As you may have heard, our club finished 7th in the Eastern Conference and was the 6th team in MLS history to qualify for the playoffs in their inaugural year. We're hosting Miami, the other 2020 expansion team, on Friday night at Nissan Stadium. We're so proud of the team's performance on the field. They set a record with the fewest goals allowed by an expansion club, and with Walker Zimmerman named as MLS Defender of the Year. Stadium construction continues to move ahead as scheduled. The earthwork phase should be wrapped up before Thanksgiving. Work on utilities and the foundation continues. As we coordinate our efforts on the entire site, we've been able to store needed rock and soil for the infrastructure project. Looking ahead, the next major milestone is the steelwork beginning in January 2021. From a safety perspective, I'm pleased to report that the project has over 110 days without an accident. We greatly appreciate how seriously the Mortensen Messer team and all others on the site are taking the focus on safety and putting it into practice. Before I turn the presentation over to Carol, please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.
Chair Atkins, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Ms. Cavara, you mentioned safety, and that's a good topic. Do we have any idea on the how many people are working on the project at this point? I mean, I know it's earlier stages. And two, what are the COVID? Do we have any COVID status on the project?
Thank you. What I will do is I will ask Kellen DeCourcy with CAA Icon to briefly address that. I know we have over 100 folks on the site, and the numbers are increasing as the work continues, and he could probably provide a brief update on both unless there's somebody from Mortensen Messer who's more qualified. Thank you.
Sure, Mary, I'll jump in there. So currently we have about 150 craft workers on site. That's going to probably hold and maintain through the end of the year, and we're looking to be at about 200 in January. As it relates to the COVID situation, Mortensen Messer is doing a great job of managing that on the site. They have strict procedures. Masks are required of all workers. We're even rolling out new procedures here to mitigate the grouping of trade workers to help control the spread. We've only had a few positive cases over the past few months.
Any further questions?
When you say a few, I'm not looking for a specific.
I think about 5 craft workers today is, I believe, the count that we have.
Okay. And are we keeping that data or monitoring it?
Yes.
Something's available?
Yes, that data is available.
Just similar to what other statistics keep, like actives and, infection, that you know what I'm saying? Just the kind of a dashboard of stats. That would be great. Thank you.
So I think that answers it. If Carol would like to discuss the DBE.
Yes, good morning. This is Carol Greenlee. I'm the inclusion coordinator for Mortensen Messer. This morning, I'd like to give you an update on the DBE participation on the project. As a reminder, the DBE goal on this project is 30%. Currently, the DBE participation is at 37%. We also provided a breakdown of the DBE participation by categories. This is the document that we keep on a regular basis, and we put this document together each week. It represents the current firms that are on the project. This also represents the 37% participation. Of the 37% participation, like I said, we provided a pie chart. If we can pull up the pie chart, the breakdown is 48% WBE, which represent 21 firms, 43% MBE, which represent 27 firms, and 9% SBE, represent 8 firms. Also, the total number of DBEs on the project is 56 firms. Of the 56 firms, the majority of the firms are represented in the state of Tennessee, and most of those firms are also in Davidson County. Again, the majority of our DBE firms are in Tennessee. Lastly, I'd like to say that we want to provide an update on all of our workforce diversity goals. Mortis and Messer voluntarily established a workforce goal of 22% combined female and people of color on the project. Currently, we are operating now with a goal with the actual participation on our workforce at 38%, which includes female and people of color. With that, we are constantly engaged in the community, meeting with and providing information to the Nashville Workforce Network. They have sent out our workforce flyers to over 300 workforce partners and organizations in Middle Tennessee. And also, we have engaged the Bardo Business Coalition during last month, making sure that we provide information to all those who would like to participate in the opportunities that are being afforded on this project in the community. With that, do you have any questions?
Madam Chair, Melvin Gill, I'm curious as to what work is left to be awarded on this project?
Carol, would you like me to answer that, Carol?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're almost fully awarded on the project. There's only about 2 to 3 trades left to award here. I think it's really carpentry and our acoustical ceiling. So we are almost fully bought out, which is a great position for the project, and represents that our participation should hopefully hold through the end of the project.
I'm sorry, but thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Greenlee?
Yes.
This is Glenn. I have a couple of questions. You mentioned, did you say Bartow Business Coalition? I didn't quite hear it.
No, sir.
Could you restate what you did say? Some business coalition?
Oh, I said Bardo. Bardo.
How do you spell that?
Bordeaux, Bardo.
Oh, okay. And
Bardo,
what is that?
Bardo Business Coalition.
Okay. And what is that?
They are an organization made up of businesses and folks in the community that have access to folks that are looking for jobs, that are unemployed, basically around in the North Nashville, South Nashville area.
Okay. And you mentioned the Nashville Workforce Network. What is that?
The Nashville Workforce Network is a group of organizations that are focused on providing information to folks looking for jobs, part of the Career Center information.
Is that a separate organization, or is that what's that made up of?
It's made up of many organizations that are geared to the workforce, providing training, providing information about available job opportunities in the area.
Thank you. One other question, and I think Mr. Gill brought up something earlier in the meeting. Under the DBE percentages, are any of those counted in that? Is any temp agencies or labor brokers?
These are the DBE participation that you're speaking of. These are
I couldn't see it's kind of small.
Yeah, these are firms that are businesses certified either through the state of Tennessee as SMWBEs, or and they're also registered with the state of Tennessee as well. These are actually businesses that are located in and around Davidson County in the state of Tennessee.
Okay, but I can't tell. Or do you know if there's any labor brokers or tip agencies doing business on the site, and if so, are any of them included in the DBE percentages?
I think the only temporary service that we have listed on this list is we only have one, and that is a small business called Tops Inc. They are Top TOP Inc.
Okay.
They are the only one that is listed within this within our percentages. And they are a small business certified by Metro BAO office.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your help.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Carol or Mary? Mary, does that conclude your update?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, Melvin Gill, I have a question.
Sure.
Looking at the participation of the WBEs, is that professional as well as non-professional services, construction-related services? Is professional services included in that?
Yes, you on the front page, you have professional services listed.
Okay.
Just below the general conditions.
I have to pull it up.
It is hard to read.
Site services. Okay. I see. I see the list. Okay, I got you. I see it now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Monica, I'm having a hard time kind of seeing. I mean, I can see it now that they're zoomed in on it, but a little more. But is that something that's in the shared drive or the?
It is, Glenn.
It is, yes.
All right, just making sure. Thank you. I'll look at it.
It's in a PDF, and you can either print it or download it to your computer. And I know it's
no problem. Thank you. I just was. It's just hard to kind of see in context. So she was referring to it. So.
I agree. My eyes are getting worse every day. But thank you. Any further questions on this item? At this time, we'll open the floor for facility questions. At a meeting just a few weeks ago, we heard from reports from each of our facilities and teams. Are there any questions from board members for our facility managers this morning?
Madam Chair, this is Don Deere. I wonder if there's any follow-up about the article I've seen recently about the NBA team that may possibly use Bridgestone for the season if this COVID-19 continues to wreck everything. I wonder if we have any follow-up on that.
Sean, are you on? Or someone from the Predators organization? Could you, or Bridgestone Arena, could you address that question?
Hey, this is Kyle Clayton. I'm not sure if Sean's able to join right now. I mean, it's one of those things we don't like to comment on things that are unofficial yet. So all we can really say at this point is, you know, our track record is always to do something that will keep Bridgestone Arena as busy as possible. So it's definitely something that, you know, we always like to pursue everything that's out there, and, you know, we continue to do that each and every day.
thank you, Kyle. And we know safety is of first and utmost importance as well for our facilities. And are there any other questions for Kyle or any of our facility managers by the board?
Madam Chair, this is Don Deering again. On the baseball for Nashville, any further question about what's going to happen? I understand there's going to be new rules and regulations for the minor league teams this year. I think I read that. I just wonder where we might be with that with the upcoming season at the Horizon Ballpark.
Hey, this is Doug Scopel with the Nashville Sounds. You guys can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. We are still waiting. Thank you for that question. It's a question we talk about in our office every day, probably 10 times a day. Major League Baseball, as we talked about in the last update we gave you guys last month, they are restructuring how the minor leagues function. We are waiting them to finalize all of that. So we don't have further information. We get inquiries from our fans and from our partners on that quite a bit. We're really hopeful that they sort all that out in the near future, hopefully by the end of the year. But as soon as we know something on that, we'll certainly be sending out plenty of information. But right now, we're kind of at their mercy in terms of waiting for them to finalize all the decisions and procedures and whatnot.
Thank you, Doug. Are there any other questions? Okay, guys, I know we're all going to be rooting for Nashville SC this Friday at Mls Stadium, where we're super pleased with the progress and the success of our new team, and I know we'll all be supporting them and hopeful for a successful run. Thank you so much to Dan Hogan for chairing this morning's Finance Committee. It was a very good discussion, and so pleased that Councilman Harrison was able to join the Finance Committee as well. We're all very fortunate to serve with good people, and I know this is challenging to have these meetings virtually. We're doing the best we can. Hopefully, Quentin helping us out with calling through votes. Hopefully that helps with feedback and consistency. So thank you for stepping up, Quentin, and helping us out. Please do share your feedback and experience on how we can improve this process, and we are very respectful of everyone's time and volunteer efforts and on this board and for your service. So thank you so much. We are scheduled for our next meeting for December 17th. Certainly with the holiday season, if there's ability to, push that those agenda items until January, we'll try to do that to be respectful of the holiday season. Next week is Thanksgiving. We hope everyone keeps well, stays safe, and we are optimistic that in the months ahead, we will actually get to hold these meetings in person and see each other again. But thank you so much. Is there any other business of this body? If not, we would entertain. Yes?
Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Be safe, wear a mask, and wash your hands often.
Yes, sir, Colonel. We will do that. Thank you all so much for your time. If there's no further business, we would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, everyone. This meeting's adjourned.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.